My girlfriend was up unusually early this morning. I wish I never found out why. I'm going to take out the trash, my girlfriend Monica announced as soon as I entered the kitchen that morning. I hadn't expected to see her up this early. Certainly not after how late she must have gotten home last night. After spending Friday nights bar hopping with friends, Monica usually slept in until lunch. "Okay, honey," I said, without particular interest, "thanks." Grabbing the cereal box from the counter and plopping down on one of the kitchen chairs, I wondered if she had returned home early the previous night and I'd simply missed it. I normally woke up as soon as I heard the key turning in the lock, but perhaps that night she'd been particularly quiet. Or maybe she'd stayed with one of her friends. "How was your night?" I asked as soon as I heard the front door click shut. "What time did you get home?" Silence. I raised my head from my bowl, waiting for her to emerge from around the corner, but the corridor was empty. "Honey?" I tried again, my voice saturated with uncertainty. Monica appeared in the doorway, her expression unreadable. She didn't look disoriented or drunk, but she didn't seem quite right either. Her hands were fidgety and her eyes wouldn't meet mine. "Monica?" I grunted, trying to tame the lump in my throat. "What's the matter?" She took a deep breath and parted her lips as though she was going to speak, but then hunched her shoulders and shook her head. "I need to take out the trash," she said. I gawked at her, dumbfounded. "But you just did?" She shook her head and glided towards the trash-can cabinet, opening it and producing another bag from within. Then, just like the previous time, she turned on her heel and disappeared from the kitchen. Needless to say, the silent treatment was unlike Monica. Had something happened during her night out? Had I done anything to upset her? And where were all these bags coming from? As soon as I heard the front door shut, I leapt out of my seat and threw the cabinet open, expecting to. Well, I'm not entirely sure what I was expecting. Either way, it was empty. "What's going on?" I asked when she returned 5 minutes later, the same empty look in her eyes. "Do you want to talk about it?" She looked dubious. "Monica." "Okay," she said, "but first, let me take out the trash." My stomach lurched as she flung the cabinet open again, pulling out yet another garbage bag. "What the hell?" I began, subconsciously pinching my arm as if to ensure I wasn't dreaming. "What are all these bags?" But she wasn't listening, instead turning her back to me and retreating the same way she had come. A chill crawled up my spine. What the hell was going on? I could have sworn the cabinet had been empty only a few moments ago. Where had all these bags come from, and why wasn't she taking them out all at once? Shutting the front door behind me as meticulously as I could, I crept down the hallway leading to the stairwell. I needed to investigate. Monica had never willingly taken out the trash before she said the garbage chute gave her the creeps. Our apartment was on the 6th floor, so there was no way she was going down all those flights of stairs for a single bag of garbage. The door to the garbage chute at the end of the hallway was ajar, and I could hear the faint wail of metal as it was pulled open. I swallowed, suddenly at a loss for what to do. Wouldn't it be weird if she found me just standing there? And what exactly was I planning to say? I listened in, my skin prickling in anticipation and my heart thudding in my chest. Oh, what was I getting so worked up for? It was only Monica, for God's sake. She'd probably had a falling out with one of her friends, or maybe I was snoring again and she couldn't get to sleep. I'll just go in, Inez. But what I saw when I opened the door will remain with me for the rest of my life. Monica was sitting on the door of the chute, her legs already swallowed by the darkness within. Slowly but surely, she was edging her body into it, her palms clamming against the metallic finish. She turned her head at the sound of the door opening, and for a brief moment her eyes lit up with recognition. "Monica!" I cried out, dashing towards the chute, my heart practically leaping out of my chest. "What are you?" But it was too late. Startled by my voice, or by my presence, she let go and disappeared into the chute, a raspy wail reverberating against the steel. Thud. I wanted to scream, but it was as though I'd suddenly gone mute. Fear sizzled through me like electricity as I flew down the stairs to the manager's office. "Give me the key to the trash room," I demanded breathlessly. "My girlfriend is inside." He looked at me over the tops of his glasses as though questioning my state of mind. "That's impossible," he retorted. "I have the only key." Tears were flowing freely down my cheeks and my clothes were damp with sweat. I must have looked a downright sight, but I didn't care. She fell into the chute. I sobbed, grabbing the edge of his desk for support, deaf from the 6th floor. Everything happened quickly after that. An ambulance was called, as were the police. At first they were hesitant to tell me what they'd found. They kept insisting I sit down and have some water, throwing leaflets about therapy and mental well-being into my lap. "Please, just tell me, just tell me," I kept repeating, but nobody was listening. Hours seemed to pass by without a single word of affirmation or any information needed to piece the events of the morning together. The ambulance left within about 20 minutes of arrival and left the police to take care of it. I couldn't understand it. I mean, even if Monica was badly hurt, she'd still need to be looked at the hospital. So why had they left? Eventually, an uneasy-looking officer took a seat next to me. "Son," he began slowly, studying my reaction, "your girlfriend is gone." I buried my face in my hands. Of course she was. She jumped down the fucking chute, plummeting God knows how many feet. "But your story isn't quite adding up," he continued, his eyes narrowing. "You said she'd fallen into the chute." He took a deep breath, his forehead creasing. "But we found her, well, parts of her, inside a garbage bag." My blood ran cold. It was like I could no longer understand what he was saying. His mouth was moving, but the sounds were jumbled and wouldn't make sense. Inside a garbage bag. What the hell was that supposed to mean? He explained that the garbage bag had been there for at least several hours before the police were called. He said that there was no doubt that its contents belonged to Monica. He asked whether I had any idea what happened. Then, in a much softer tone, he added that I'd be expected to come in for questioning. When I finally returned to my apartment that morning, all I wanted to do was fall into bed and go to sleep, praying I'd wake up to discover that all this had been nothing but a bad dream. But as soon as I entered the bedroom, the front door slammed shut. "Hello?" I called out, my voice meek and croaky. Silence. A newfound sense of dread filled my lungs as I recalled the events of the morning. As I tiptoed slowly towards the kitchen, I couldn't help wondering if... No, it couldn't be. She was leaning over the trash can cabinet, a new garbage bag in her grasp. She spun around and our eyes met. "I'm just going to take out the trash," she said. I stared at her, my breath catching in my throat. Here she was, right in front of me, talking about trash as if it were the most casual thing in the world. In a feeble attempt to make her stay, I asked the only question I could think of. I asked it even though I knew the answer already. What's in the bag, honey?"